Real Virginia is produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Farming, it's all good. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy. Millions of dollars in tobacco transition payments in this year, bringing more change for Virginia growers. It's football season, time for some delicious wings in the heart of the home. And fall decorations and festivals are bringing home the bacon for some Virginia producers. Welcome back, everyone. Virginia has been in the tobacco business for more than 400 years, and this industry has changed quite a bit over the last decade. And it's expected to change even more with the end of the federal buyout payments this year. A national tobacco quota system began in the 1930s to stabilize farm prices and only ended in 2004 when the federal government agreed to make transition payments to growers to help them move to a free market. Almost $200 million has come back to rural Southside Virginia from these payments, which end this year. Virginia's remaining tobacco farmers now sell their crop through a contract with tobacco buyers. Recently, there's been a worldwide shortage of quality tobacco, so together with good weather, this has been a good season for Virginia tobacco growers.
What I find interesting about the tobacco industry is the great change that has taken place in my lifetime. As a child, I worked very close to where I'm sitting as my family hand-strung tobacco and put it in barns. And my earliest memories were of barns that were cured with wood, and we made a living. I know families that lived off of 3, 4, 5 acres of tobacco. And the process that has changed, where I'm now grow 110 acres, my son and I, it's part of a larger operation. I grow 1,400 acres of row crop, but tobacco still rules.
The transition payments ended the old system of thousands of smaller tobacco farms scattered across the South. Farmers with the knowledge, the land, and the experience consolidated tobacco acreage and turned to mechanization. Other growers left the crop and used their buyout money for other farm enterprises such as beef cattle. And many others used the money to retire. So in an industry that has not changed much for decades, there's been a great deal of turnover in the past 10 years. Remaining tobacco growers have had to be much more flexible.
And as we look at our different alternatives, we look at how we can be competitive. We're always evaluating other crops. We've changed our crop mix. We do things much differently. We are much more conscious of building up the soil, being sustainable. Even though tobacco is politically unpopular and there are issues with tobacco, it's been our culture to grow it my entire lifetime, and we use the same effort in growing that as we grow all of our other crops, and try to produce as high quality product that the market demands as we possibly can.
The Spires continually research new crops and monitor cooperative extension publications for new opportunities. They have grown experimental crops and adopted a number of things they have learned from extension. They use a small number of foreign H-2A migrant workers that have been with the family for close to 20 years. One of the workers has 2 sons that now come back and work with him. They know that if the crop does well, they will do well.
My son is very involved with cover crop right now, and he's put in a test plot, if you will, of about 7 different cover crops to evaluate those. We're almost all no-till. The only crop we don't no-till is flue-cured tobacco, and we strip-till that, which is a little unusual, but we picked that up from the extension.
Virginia's tobacco harvest season runs from July to mid-October, and the crews work 5 to 6 days a week. Each stalk of prime tobacco can be worth up to $1 to the farm, meaning tobacco is still a vital crop to many Virginia growers.
The number of farms in this Southside Virginia county has actually grown in the past 5 years to 383. Soybeans, corn, and wheat are the top cash crops in Dinwiddie County, followed by tobacco and cotton. There are also a few vegetable, potato, and sweet potato growers. Cattle and calves are the top livestock, although there's also a few hog and poultry farms, and even some horses and ponies. Hay, sheep, and goats round out the products raised here. Agriculture contributes $24.9 million to the economy of Dinwiddie County, Virginia.
Hi, next we're going to be talking about how to prepare your garden for the winter from the ground up. Please stay tuned.
We're on Oak McGee Dairy Farm in Amelia County, Virginia.
My great-grandfather moved here in 1898. I started milking cows, I think, in 1902, and been milking cows ever since.
The farm involves my father-in-law, mother-in-law, my husband, his brother, and our 2 boys.
You get to see and get the knowledge of the generation ahead of you, and you get all the education and new ideas from the younger sons behind me.
And I feel a real connection with the land I work every day, and being able to work with my dad and brothers and uncle and grandfather.
You know, we plant stuff, you like to see it grow, build up a good herd of cattle, and think you accomplished something.
You can see the profits of your labor on a daily basis.
And we really take pride in what we do, producing a wholesome product for the consumer.
I am Larkin Moyer, a 4th-generation dairy farmer from Virginia, and I'm dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, and my land.
It's that time of year when we get ready to close up our gardens, and as Chris Mullins shows us, it's easy to organize your garden from the ground up.
We're at Randolph Farm at Virginia State University, and it's starting to get a little cool outside. You've probably gone through the summer, you've had your great garden, and you're kind of finished up, and you might be a little tired. So it might be time to think about cleaning that area up and getting ready for next spring. Anything you can do now to help yourself out then is going to be a great thing. Now, some of you, though, are still growing crops into the fall, like kale and lettuce and collards and cabbage. Those things do great. But some of you might just be ready to clean that garden area up, get those things done that need to be done, and get ready for next spring. Now, one of the first things you might think about when you're cleaning the garden up and getting ready for the winter is to get all your implements, all your tools and things out of the garden. Things like tomato sticks like this. You get them up, get them out of the way, get them put away so that they'll stay straight and they won't bow on you. Hose, cultivating hose like that, they can move all those inside, maybe oil them up, clean them up, get them out of the weather. Garden hoses, any kind of irrigation material that you've got, you want to get those out of the way, get them drained so nothing will freeze in those, and get them up and into the garage or into the barn. So that's one good thing, to get those things all out of the garden. You know, and also this time of the year is a good time to think about amending your garden. And you can start by doing a soil test and see exactly what you might need into your garden, whether you need some sort of amendment like lime, or maybe if you need some compost. Compost can be a great thing to put on in the fall. You could take an area like this, till it up, get it ready, put your compost down, 2 to 3 inches of compost over the area, your garden area, and then incorporate that in. And that's going to do a lot of things. That's going to increase your drainage later on in the spring. It's going to add organic matter, and it's going to add some fertility to the plants that you're going to grow in the spring. And even if you want to put some cover crops in right now, that's going to help you with that fertility. Well, this is another patch here, and you can see that we've got some peppers growing, we've got some eggplant growing. And I would encourage you, if you've got those things still growing in your garden, you keep those going as long as possible. Get that last pepper off there, get that last eggplant off there. And after you've done that and you clean up your garden like we talked about before, it might be time to try something different. You might be, I've always wanted to put a cover crop down, and this might be the season to do it. We got a nice cover crop growing here. And a cover crop is basically plants that are going to grow on the ground. We don't want to keep the ground bare through the winter time because you'll get a lot of soil erosion. So you want to put something on it, and this cover crop can also, in the springtime, be tilled in, maybe about 3 to 4 weeks before you plant. This can all be tilled in, and what it'll do is decompose, and it'll add organic matter to the soil, and it might even add some nutrients. So it can be a real nice addition to your garden before you plant in the spring. Some ones that you might try are like hairy vetch and rye, Austrian winter pea, some of those, and there's others that would do very well for you and can help be a good amendment to your garden for the springtime. Well, for more information about cover crops or cleaning your garden up for the winter, contact your local county extension office and talk to your master gardener. For From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins, and we'll see you next time.
Nothing says football season like some tasty tailgating food. Up next, Caressa Jackson has a recipe for hot wings from the heart of the home. Stay with us. Dazzling lights on winter nights will put you in the mood for the holiday season. It's the Illuminate Light Show in Santa's Village at the Meadow Event Park November 14th through January 3rd in Caroline County. This spectacular drive-through holiday lighting event takes travelers through a musical show of color, lights, and design. Giant animated holiday displays and illuminated trees lead to Santa's Village, where families can visit Santa Claus and enjoy the sights and magic of Christmas. To learn more, go to illuminatelightshow.com.
Our vacation in a Virginia State Park was a wonderful idea. The lodge is beautiful and it has so much room. The park staff are super helpful, and the kids are having such a great time. We're learning all about Virginia's history, and Mark and I even have time for just the two of us. This has been a wonderful experience, and we've never felt so close as a family. We'd love for you to join us. Love, Virginia.
Hot wings are popular for any sporting event, but perhaps no more so than football season. Miss America 2010 Caressa Jackson shows us her family recipe for hot wings in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Caressa Jackson for Heart of the Home. Today I'm cooking at the kitchen at the Meadow Event Park. And it's fall, and so fall in our house means football. And when it's football season, it's time for some big game wings. These are one of my husband's favorite recipes, and so I am going to teach you how we make them at the Jackson house. So first, we start off with some wingettes. You want to use the pieces that are already pulled. I like the drumettes the best, but the flats also work well. So the first thing we're going to do is add 2 teaspoons of paprika, or 1 tablespoon if you like them really spicy. 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of a garlic and herb seasoning, and salt and pepper. You can salt and pepper to taste. And meanwhile, I am preheating oil in a cast iron skillet. You can already probably hear it. It's ready to go. This is the fun part. Mix it all together. I like to use my hands to make sure that all the seasons are evenly distributed throughout the chicken. When they all have a nice orange coloring, that's when you know that the seasoning is ready. In another pan beside us, we have some flour. What you can choose to do if you like is add some of the same spices that we seasoned the chicken with into your flour, or you can just plain bread it with regular flour. It's whatever you like the best. So we're going to take a few pieces, shake it up, and you want to make sure that you tap them to get rid of the excess flour on them as they come out, so that the flour doesn't burn too much in the pan. You'll keep repeating this process until all of your wings are in the skillet. If they don't all fit, you can do 2 batches, it's fine. These cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, or until they start floating at the top. Once I get them all in here and we start frying them, we're going to make the hot sauce. So as our chicken continues to fry and brown, we're going to go ahead and start our hot wing sauce. So the first thing we're going to do is use about 2 sticks of butter. You know, just the way God intended, 2 sticks of butter. And we're going to melt this down in a saucepan. And then on deck, we have 1.5 cup of hot sauce, and we have 2 tablespoons of honey. And just when the butter gets to the point where most of it's melted, but there's still some left, that's when you want to go ahead and add your hot sauce. So we're going to do that now. And we're going to fully let our butter melt, and then we're going to add our 2 tablespoons of honey. All right, now our butter is just about melted. And we're going to go ahead and add our honey in the mix. You can add more honey if you like a sweeter taste with your spice. So if you want it to be like half sweet, half spicy, I'd say you could go ahead and add maybe 2 to 3 more tablespoons of honey, just depending on how sweet you like it, but we like our wings with a lot of kick. We will let this sauce simmer for about 5 minutes. It's going to start to thicken up, and then we will drain our chicken, and then we will start to add our chicken to the spicy sauce. So as your wings continue to come out of the fryer, you want to drain them just a little bit, and then we're going to put the fried wings into our hot sauce. And we'll continue this process until all of them are done. Then you want to mix them around and make sure every wing is covered. At this point in the process, you definitely want to make sure that your sauce is on low, because the hotter the hot sauce gets, as you start to look into it, it starts to burn your eyes a little bit. So you want to make sure that you cook it down low so there's not too much of the hot steam coming off of it. Once they are all nice and covered, you can start to pull them out. Okay, so now that we have plated these wings, I went ahead and prepared a blue cheese dipping sauce. You can do this with crumbles of blue cheese, some sour cream, some mayonnaise, lemon juice, salt and pepper to taste as well. Put it in a food processor on pulse, and then you'll have a great dipping sauce to go with it as well. And there you have it. I'm Caressa Jackson for Heart of the Home. These are big game hot wings and blue cheese dipping sauce. Come and get it.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
Speaking of wings, Virginia is the 10th largest chicken producing state in the nation. There are almost 800 chicken operations in the Commonwealth, producing 240.5 million broiler chickens a year. Americans love poultry. Per capita, U.S. poultry consumption has risen from 34 pounds in 1960 to nearly 100 pounds today. The United States exports about 18% of the chicken it produces. Currently, the top U.S. chicken export markets are Mexico, Hong Kong, Russia, Cuba, and Angola. Chicken is an excellent and healthy source of protein, vitamin B, and selenium. A 4-ounce boneless, skinless chicken breast has only 100 calories and 1 gram of fat. Many people decorate their homes with pumpkins and corn shocks for the fall. As Dave Miller reports, these products and other fall decorations offer a profitable opportunity for Virginia farmers.
In the mountains of southwest Virginia, typical fall crops and activities include pumpkins, gourds, corn mazes, and of course plenty of fall colors and bluegrass music. In economic terms, this is often called agritourism. But for everyone who visits a farm in the fall, it's just plain fun.
Even though the garden is a harvest time, I believe fall is even more of a harvest time, because everybody wants to have a bale of hay out there, have some corn shocks on their front porch, get those pumpkins, get those gourds, and because it's like the last colorful hurrah before winter sets in. So it's a big business here in Southwest Virginia.
Pumpkins is probably our largest crop we grow. We start out the year with broccoli. We grow probably 8-10 acres of broccoli in the spring. We got about 3 acres of blackberries we do in the middle of the summer. and then pumpkins and potatoes we do for a fall crop. We actually grow probably about 40 acres of pumpkins, from the little small miniatures to the 70, 80 pound stuff. We sell maybe 15% of them here retail, and the rest of them are sold commercially.
Sue Shelor has a craft shop in Patrick County. An accomplished artist, she has been creating art from dried gourds for several years. She hand-picks her gourds in the field and brings them through the entire process of curing, shaping, and painting each one by hand.
I don't know, I've got a serious passion for gourds. There no two are alike, and they're just fascinating. They're fascinating to grow and watch what shape they're going to become. The colors are fantastic. You never know what you're going to get. And then as they dry, then that's when I can really go to town and play with them, because they're at that point for crafting. And this gourd, it was all crinkly, but that's what attracted my eye. And this was my first attempt at doing 3 layers of sponge coating to make it look like it's a piece of stone. So that's why I decided to keep it, because I think it's turned out really awesome.
In addition to her rural artwork, Sue runs a fall music and craft festival with a self-designed corn maze as the centerpiece. There are vendors, music, and plenty of pumpkins at the event. But it's the corn maze that attracts children and adults alike into the fields. According to a Virginia Cooperative Extension study, events like these can make a big financial difference for smaller farmers who struggle to make a profit.
Well, the whole cornfield itself is 6.5 acres, and it gets planted about the first week in June. We plant it late so it's staying greener as long as possible. We come up with a design and we start cutting it out in July. This particular year, it took 5 days, and it's just my husband and myself. We're the ones that cut it out. I'm the one that comes up with the design every year. This is our 9th year for our corn maze. Let me just first tell you that we've always kept it musically themed, because my husband is a longtime musician. He's been playing banjo since he was 5 years old.
Peggy, won't you fill 'em up again? Old Aunt Peggy, won't you fill 'em up again? Old Aunt Peggy, won't you fill 'em up again?
But every once in a while, we will stray from that. Like when the Parkway turned 75 years, I got permission to use their logo to put in as the design. And so that prompted a really good business opportunity to become a track trail with the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Agritourism sites are scattered across Virginia and often feature other activities besides fall festivals. But when the fall colors and the mountains beckon to visitors, it can make for a magical and profitable combination. A USDA study has found agritourism options can add up to $24,000 to a farm's bottom line in a year. That could be good insurance against crop failures, poor prices, and bad weather. So growers in Southwest Virginia and the visitors will continue to benefit from colorful products like gourds, pumpkins, and handmade crafts. From Patrick County, Virginia, this is Dave Miller reporting.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We are so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.